Hello, friends. I'm sitting here in my house in Eastern Washington next to my cozy wood fire with the wood, the cottonwood and tamarack that I cut and split and dried and stacked all winter. And it was nice to wake up. There was still a piece of tamarack that was kind of burning, so I just threw a little bit of kindling on it. Kindling that I make to have on hand. And there we go. I've, for the last couple years, had a goal of staying off Facebook and Instagram and Twitter for 6 days a week. So I go on Monday and spend a couple hours on each platform because personal reasons, but also I have a lot of paid work for the landscaping handyman biz that comes in that way. And I'm kind of like an octopus. There's a lot of directions that I'm developing. But as I've been meditating a lot more and found the fasts coming a lot easier, the temptation is a lot less now that I've really focusing on being my own best friend and meditating twice a day to the point where I have a shift in mentality. Also, making music has been helping to resist the temptation. I follow several hundred channels on YouTube. Now, obviously, those are not channels that I look at every day or every week. There's about 10 or 15 channels that I seek out, type in into the YouTube search bar that person or that subject or that song I've listened to a million times, and I go there and I watch their latest video, or I have systematically about 5 different people. I've been systematically watching all their videos from the beginning of time. I have a homepage, of course, and it suggests a lot of things, but those certain people I seek out, and I think I'm not the only one who does that because their content is very valuable. Now, I've been on YouTube since I was in art school in Portland, 2009. I just started fooling around with my cell phone and a MacBook Pro laptop, mostly filming myself playing piano in Forest Grove when I was in the ground zero of Lyme's disease, when I was sleeping 22 hours a day and I was just a completely different person than I am now, pretty much disabled. So I started making YouTube videos to share my music, and I had discovered YouTube a lot later. Like a lot of things, I come into things a lot later, and then I come in hard, like a dark horse. But I worked for many years as a volunteer docent at the Spark Museum of Electricity in Bellingham, and we had an in-house radio station, KMRE 102.3, which had a broadcast range of about 20 miles. Now, that was an in-house radio station, and I've always been fascinated by media communication. And so when my friend Robert at the YMCA one day when I was going to work out told me about this thing called YouTube, I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So I looked into it and, of course, started getting into it, but it wasn't till about 4 years later that I started posting these videos. Well, yesterday and the last couple days, I've been watching a lot of guys my age that are YouTube have 10,000 subscribers or more, and their kind of thoughts since the Social Dilemma film came out. Their kind of thoughts, and they're sort of bitching and moaning about the so-called algorithm and how they're really frustrated with that, and they're having this overwhelm thing because I imagine it is a lot of pressure to have millions of eyes on you, or even 10,000. So I have 15, and that's great. And I know there's other random people that watch my videos, like the animation I made, Tempo, has gotten almost 13,000 views for from some reason and has been referenced in college papers about Muybridge and the history of cinema, which is really cool, even though it was blocked in this country and a lot of the Western countries because it has copyrighted music on it. It's still very popular in Russia and Eastern Europe, and it's an animation using pictures from Edward Muybridge's Animal Locomotion. So I've never really made a YouTube video about myself. I am insecure as the next guy, but all of my YouTube videos have been about either my music, my sculptures, the heartache over boys, which is a lot of what my songs are about. And I've never traded on my own vanity. Let's say it that way. And I think that if I was on here and I was making a living by pouring out my thoughts constantly, daily, weekly, monthly, and having people live vicariously through my life that they think is an improvement on their own, I would feel definite overwhelm and I would feel very exposed. Now, on my Facebook personal timeline, I'm pretty exposed, and some of that is private for my friends that I know in real life, about 350 people that I know from real life, and some of that is public because vulnerability is good. But there's so much out there to make YouTube videos about or to make any sort of media about, podcasts, radio, old fashioned radio broadcasts, or writing a book. But whatever we are as men and as people, when it grows, is just that is amplified in scale along with it. So if we're insecure, if we need attention, if we're uncertain, if we're sad, that is going to be magnified 10,000 times, or how many times over that we scale. So I'm not sure that the algorithm is the real root of what's going on with these guys, because the algorithm may manipulate people. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg, but these are people that are surviving off YouTube, off ad revenue, and off their pretty faces, but they're making videos about things that are popular at the time, like stoicism, like no fap, and now the social dilemma thing. So they're making videos that play into the algorithm to make that ad revenue, to get that sponsorship that they need to survive. Everyone has to make a living somehow. And then they're complaining about it, which is further scaling their platform. So I guess I've gotten wise to you guys, and it's just a real clusterfuck. But one of the channels I follow is a gay guy that I found. I was looking for relationship advice, and I've been following him only about a month, and I'm really getting into his videos. They're really high quality. He's really fun, he's sweet, and he's a nice gay guy. He's not very catty, which is kind of unusual. But he's making videos. He started out making videos about being gay and sad, but now he's making videos about topics, and not just topics like stoicism or cold showers or whatever the fuck, but about really in depth things. So he's bringing his own experience into it, but also making videos about things that are bigger than him, I guess. Another thing is that people live vicariously through those of us who are online who have a so called platform. And I've realized this for a few years, and that's part of the reason I've been doing my fast, is because I'm trying to set a good example about the amount of time we spend online and so forth. Because I travel and I have these zany adventures and I write all about them in great detail. And I know that people are sitting at home and they're lonely and bored, and especially now with COVID, and they don't have the courage that I have and others of us online. And so they're living vicariously through my writing or pictures or videos. And that to me is very troubling. But at the same time, people have been living vicariously through art and craft since the beginning of time. Think about how many people have lived vicariously through Jane Austen books or Charles Dickens or Tolstoy. Now, I'm not saying that my stuff is anywhere near that, but what I'm saying is that those of us who live in societies or lifestyles that enable us to have all this free time where we're not having to hand to mouth constantly. We have a lot of free time, downtime when we're at home, and you go to these platforms and you kind of consume, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But when people's whole lives becomes wrapped up, and I see this from YouTube comments and Instagram comments, and I see all the lonely people and how they're living vicariously through these people that have these mega platform lives. And these people, I love you, but like all humans, are also flawed. Now, and some of them are more flawed than others. I don't want to say Peter Pan syndrome, but I want to say stunted intrapersonally and interpersonally. And I think that they're documenting their process at the same time, but it needs to go a little bit faster. And that probably reflects on me because we find what we are, right? And so I don't know exactly what I'm saying, but I'm trying to make a point for people who are feeling this overwhelm, especially these guys or even gals or transgender or whatever gender, people who have these mega platforms, and people who are musicians that have mega platforms. People are making a living, but they have to decide at a point if they're going to let the living make them or if they're going to make the living. And like I say, if people watch your videos and especially if they comment, those are your biggest fans. And they're searching you out. They're spending 2-3 minutes to find you and watch your videos. They're clicking on your videos. And whether you post every 5 times a day or once a year, those people are going to watch your videos. And I realize that you're making a living and you're putting massive amounts of time and editing and everything to make your beautiful videos, films more like it. And they are beautiful and you have people to pay and stuff, but I don't think it's a tough one because eventually I want to monetize too. But and I've had opportunities to do that. And I feel like Google Ads is the easy way out. And that would be nice. It'd be nice to have that income. I have other forms of income, but they're, not too much right now. But the most attractive thing to me is having 10,000 followers and being able to do the merch thing. below the videos, like Sufjan does, and Sufjan Stevens. It's very unobtrusive, and if someone is your biggest fan, they're gonna buy a T-shirt or a bag or a hat or whatever, or a mask with a butthole where the mouth is, which is one of my ideas. But and said, "I don't give a fuck" or whatever. But that one's for free. But I just don't want to make money on advertising, and I feel like it is a form of prostitution, and I don't necessarily look down on people who do that. Like, I don't look down on sex workers necessarily. I have friends who are sex workers. I have friends who have been sex workers when they're unemployed, and I'm just like, I love you. But if you're making videos to get ad revenue, to make videos, then you're going to be part of the algorithm. It's not until you step out of it that you will be free and not overwhelmed. And if you're reading the comments all day and night on your YouTube pages and whatever pages, you're going to be overwhelmed. So I really think making videos about things other than ourselves and trading on our personalities is really important and key. And I'm hoping, like I said, to level up my game. I'm bare bones here in a ghost town, but I'm just looking like I'm going to be doing some traveling, and that will open up some more technology. But that's basically it. If if your channel is about you being insecure, trying to find your way, then the people who are reading your video, watching your videos and commenting are going to be the same kind of people. That's how I found them. And the ads are going to play into that. So it's time to reassess, and you have these incredible platforms, which is an amazing power. So with great power comes great responsibility. What are you going to, if people will watch anything you put on there and love it, like picture, video of you shitting for 10 hours, like they're going to watch it. They're going to watch a video of you talking about Kant's critique of pure reason for 10 million years. They're going to watch the videos that you put. They're going to watch any video you put on there, and they're going to love it. And that 2% of people is going to hate it. So, are you going to let people and your insecurity run your life, and your need for attention, which we all have? But if you're claiming to be someone who's enlightened because you've read Seneca and you've done all these things and taken cold showers and all this stuff, you also have a responsibility to set the best example that you can be, and be the best person for the people that are living vicariously through you, and the people like me that are learning from you. I think people are going to get that very soon, and I'm really excited to see people level up and to see our YouTube community, which I'm now feeling a part of, level up. So I love you guys, and thanks for watching. Have a great week.